Like Godwin said, we are talking about cyber fraud, which is definitely increasing a lot in these days. Now, with the advancement of technology and devices, there has been an increase of cybercrime worldwide. Now, the idea of using the internet to commit crimes isn't new, but the problem continues to grow as people become more reliant on the internet for making purchases and strong personal information. Now, cyber fraud still remains largely persuasive amongst the youth, especially undergraduates. Now, the increasing rate of unemployment and harsh economic conditions have been attributed to the increase of these cyber crimes. And for many who engage in cyber fraud, it is actually a source of income. Now, we will have an in-depth conversation on cyber fraud. It is to impact and its impact on the youth and why cyber fraud should be curbed and abolished. But you already know, before we get into that, the conversation is never complete without you. You are a major part of the show. So send in your questions, reactions, all of that good stuff through our WhatsApp number. That is 055-033-1511. And you can also tweet us on MX24GH, hashtag the AM Club.
Joining us for this conversation, of course, is our very own Kwame Eyepoku. He'll be joining us via Zoom. But in the studio, we have Eric Kweku Mensah. He's the lead of financial crimes and AML as the E-Crimes Bureau. Good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning.
Mr. Kweku Mensah, Eric. Let me say Kweku, I'll stick to Kweku.
Kweku Mensah, so you can use Kweku.
Mensah, yes, as
well. You know, we are in Ghana, so you can use Kweku.
Domestication.
I like it.
Kweku, welcome.
Thank you.
Kweku, talking about e-crimes and cyber fraud and all that. I remember years ago, I remember when I was in high school, the most popular form of cyber crime or cyber fraud I knew about was when boys will take credit cards online. Remember, they used to get people's credit cards, Visa cards online to buy stuff and then ship to Ghana. So those days when we wear Timberland and the jeans and all that, you can only use it to buy stuff. You can't really get cash.
Very well.
I believe it has advanced. So now when we talk about cyber crime, what does it entail?
So you know, like you rightly mentioned, people get cards online. Usually it's called the dumps. So you go to the dump and get a card and then use it to make some purchase, and it's fraudulent. So in actual sense, cyber crime generally is any illegal activity that is perpetrated using electronic device or computer systems. So even in the Cybersecurity Act that was recently passed, it's actually defined in there, and it's the same thing. Any act that is committed, illegal act that is committed using information security systems or the computers, any electronic device, that is cyber crime. Okay, that is cyber crime. So I believe that as the conversation goes on, we will talk about what it is and the types and the forms.
Yeah, well, can you list the different types?
Yes, so in relation to the cyber crimes, we have cyber dependent crimes and cyber facilitated crimes.
Wow.
Okay, so we've grouped them into two. Now, cyber dependent crimes are crimes that are committed with the use of computer systems. So that means that if you take computer systems off, those crimes will not exist.
Okay.
So for example, hacking. So if there is no computer, there can't be hacking, right? But for cyber facilitated crimes, Momo fraud, for example, is cyber facilitated because without the computer device, that's the phone, you can still try to, deceive someone, social engineer someone to get the person's money.
Right.
So you get it. So that is cyber facilitated. So that means that even without the computer device or electronic system, that crime can still exist. But cyber dependent crimes, without the computer system, that crime will not exist. Like the hacking and then the DOS attacks and hacking into people's systems, the malwares and all those stuffs. Those are the types of cyber crimes or cyber criminality we are seeing within the world now.
Yeah. Well, I know that between 2016 and 2018, the country actually lost over $200 million due to cybercrime cases. And according to the Ghana police, that service, more than half of these reports were actually linked to fraud. Yeah. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on these numbers? How do we stop these things from happening?
You see, I must say that is even further because even now, the numbers are huge.
Is it just very easy then for anybody to do it?
That's the perception. Because, I was listening to an ex-convict who had been in cyber criminality for some time, he mentioned that, of course, when you're entering into it, you think it's very easy, but the more you go into it, you realize that there is a lot of work that you have to do, where you have sleepless nights, because for criminals to be able to hack into systems, to be able to defraud people, you would have to know the person you are targeting. So you would have to spend nights to research.
Following them.
Yes. To be able to,
so these guys research on their victims.
Yes, they do that. So they actually profile you. So let's say, Miss Drew, I want to target you. What I would do is to profile you, know where you went to school, what kind of business you are in, everything about you, so that when I tailor my attack, I'll be able to get you easily. Okay, so the numbers keep on increasing, and we've seen a very sharp rise, particularly because of COVID-19. In fact, when COVID-19 came in, a lot of us actually decided to move online. Those of us who were very averse towards online schools and all that, you realize that everybody's now doing one or two things online. Classes, taking courses, and even the systems, the electronic systems within institutions. You hear work from home, right? Yes. So work from home, prior to that time, when you tell a manager, oh, I want to work from home, they'll say, no, do not work from home. But when COVID-19 came in, we all adapted to that. So you realize that criminality too has realized, okay, why not?
It's easy.
A lot of people have gone in there, so why don't we all target them? So the numbers keep on increasing. Keep on increasing.
So, of course, COVID-19 and the lockdown contributed massively to this increase. Would you say unemployment is also another factor?
Yes, some school of thoughts actually add that into it, because youths that don't have any meaningful job on their hands, they will also want to find ways to live, to survive.
Yeah, I guess
and
it's
survival is part of human being. Back in the days, the Stone Age survival, you ought to go and kill an animal to survive, to live. So someone who doesn't have any meaningful job to do will certainly try to think about going to do some fraud to be able to
I hear all sorts of things. How are the youth introduced to this cyber fraud? Because I understand now people are kept, I don't have the proof, but boys are kept in rooms. I think I've seen some news reports where they have so many boys, they bought computers for them and allow them to
go
torture people online.
In fact, that is actually cyber gangs.
Okay.
So there is now an emergence of cyber gangs. It has been in existence, but now it's more like a day-to-day activity. And I tell you, previously, criminality is more like, let me use the word, sole proprietor, where one person commits the crime. But now it's not one person. It's actually a company. It's actually a business. Yes, that is what is happening.
So I can get a bike set of computers for young people, say 10 of them, put them in a room and let them,
And you see on social media, I think some time ago, there were videos circulating on some guys that were busted in some, apartments and the rest. So all these things form part. Now, back to your question in relation to how are young ones introduced to, cyber criminality. I'll take it from about 3 different angles. The first angle is, when we were growing up, you realize that even when you are playing a game, you want to find a way to cheat the game. Right?
Yeah.
And even now it happens. You are playing a game and you have to buy a weapon to be able to use, and you want to find ways and means to cheat the gaming system to be able to acquire that weapon for your gaming. That is the beginning of cyber criminality.
That's interesting.
Because those things are supposed to be purchased, but you don't want to purchase them, so you bypass it. And so that is how it begins. So you start from game, you start from, petty stuffs. Then you get introduced, you get very curious. You want to hack into systems, hack into banking or financial systems to be able to, get your money. That is one angle. And then the other angle being the recruitment by the cyber gangs.
How did they find you? Do you have a way of looking, or do you sit around someone and then they know that you're going to be good for me?
Very well. That is what they do. Like I mentioned, they do profiling.
Wow.
So they tend to see people who are a bit susceptible to, being recruited into their fold. And the fact is that sometimes they also look for people who are very tech savvy. Because the fact is, in terms of cyber criminality, one man cannot have or acquire or have all the knowledge. Okay. So if I realize that you know how to program very well, and you can program a script to, target a banking system. I can come and contact you. Oh, this is the deal, and this is the amount on the table. Will you help us program that script? So they recruit you. Even insiders within institutions.
Wow.
There are cyber gangs that actually have people who are specialized in recruitment. Like, we have HRs in normal firms. Yes.
It's a real thing.
This is going to be a thing. From the way you describe it, I think it's actually going to be a thing with the emergence of even higher and advanced technological, innovations. I feel like it's not going to be a thing. How are we going to fight some of these things? But before that, can you throw some light on the long and short-term impact of cyber fraud?
You see, at the beginning, you realized as a criminal, I'm talking in relation to the criminal's mindset, you realize you're getting money easily, you realize, Charlie, you're making it and the rest. But as you progress, you tend to come to that consciousness that the police or the law enforcement agency is looking at you.
Yes, you get paranoid.
Yes. And I bet you some cyber criminals have bought big houses, very nice houses, but they are unable to sleep in them.
Yeah.
Why? Because they know that people are trying to track them and then arrest them. So I must say the impact, or in terms of the consequence on the perpetrator, is very there. Even in the acts or the policies and the laws we have in this country, you will be imprisoned. Now, on the perspective of we, the victims or the targets, we lose a lot of money, and you even recounted the amount of money that was lost. So in terms of that, we lose a lot of money, systems go down. There have been some countries where, full electricity grids go down, have been hacked. So imagine Ghana having our ECG system or grid code system hacked. It's going to impact a whole lot of businesses within the country. So there's a lot of impact, and it can vary from the institutional, even countrywide, and then even the individual who is perpetrating the crime.
Okay, Kweku. Now, this is scary. What you're saying is very scary. And for a person who probably also saves money and wants to protect my money in some of these banks, because in the past we heard about banks who were hacked and lots of money were taken away. How can you guarantee us that, how strong are our laws, how strong are protection for, I don't know the technical terms for it, but in Ghana, how strong are the security systems to protect people from being,
Okay, so I must say that Ghana has come a very long way, and looking at other countries, we have done a whole lot. In fact, we have ascribed to the Budapest Convention, which is an international treaty on cyber crimes and the rest. We've also ascribed to the Malabo Convention, which is specific to the African continent. Okay, that is one aspect in terms of international collaborations to be able to mitigate these crimes. Now, in terms of the laws in-house, recently, 2020, the Cybersecurity Act was passed. We also have the Electronic Transactions Act that has been passed. There's a Data Protection Act. There are a lot of, acts and even policies that have been issued out by the regulators. For example, Bank of Ghana issued the Cybersecurity Directive. Okay, and it's all in the bid to, mitigate the threats we are seeing. So for Ghana, a lot has been done. In fact, I must even add that recently the Cybersecurity Authority has been set up by the state, just for them to be able to oversee how protected we are as a country, and also, educate us, especially the citizenry, so that we don't really fall prey to.
But how effective is that, though?
How effective is it? It's a good question.
Is that really helping? Because still, every single day, people are getting hacked, whether it's on Instagram, via Moment. And as an individual, how are we supposed to even stop ourselves from falling into that?
You see, for criminality or crimes can never be eliminated. Let me say this. You can't bring cyber criminality to 0%. No, it's impossible. You only strive to mitigate it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I must say they are doing a lot, but there's still more room for improvement. Like my primary school teacher would write in my report, more room for improvement. There's more room for improvement in relation to even the regulations, even the enforcement. Because one thing we see in Ghana here is the regulations are passed, but when it comes to enforcing the regulation, there is some bit of challenge. So there's more room, and I will advocate that on this platform. And I must say that you've done very well bringing me here to even talk about it. It's going to actually conscientize somebody and then throw light on what is happening within the ecosystem. So we will have to be very careful. The law enforcement agencies would have to be, you know, a bit proactive.
Yeah.
Yes, because sometimes the things happen before they come, and then being firefighters and all that. So sometimes we have to be a bit proactive. I've seen a couple that have been done where some cyber criminals were arrested. Yes,
Good.
but you know, there's more room for improvement
Definitely.
on their side.
So again, back to the question: if, as the government are doing their part, you know, bringing in all of these acts, as an individual, what can we do to also fight on our side to make it more difficult for these people to access us and our information?
Good. So I must say that the weakest link to security is a human being. And I read somewhere that amateurs hack systems, but pros hack human beings. Yeah, amateurs hack systems, but pros hack human beings. Now, because human beings are the very weakest links in terms of security, you can have the very sophisticated security system, but if they ask you not to click on any link in your email, and you are clicking on it, you know, yes. So we as human beings, or we as individuals, would have to be very careful the kind of things that we click on online, and particularly the things we even download.
Yes, I want to even say.
Yeah, you know, you be there and then you're in a WhatsApp group and then you receive Apple is giving away,
you know,
60,
but then
60
even
iPhone 14s to the first whoever, and people click on it
for no
like,
reason. It's silly. But then even they're getting more smart on Instagram to be like, oh, you know, if you just give me your password and then I'll be able to help you get this amount of money. So many times people come up with these silly things. I'm like, really?
You have World Remit and all those
That
stuff
is it.
going on.
You
The
have to be
investment
smart,
scams
guys.
and all those. And the fact is that right now we have seen a very sharp rise in account takeovers.
Yes.
So you see someone's Instagram, Facebook, and the rest being taken over.
Yep.
And recently we have been bombarded with WhatsApp account takeovers,
Wow.
where you
Yes,
you
actually,
receive
it's
a
happened
code.
to me.
Someone calls you, oh, you are in this ABC group. Yes, we are forming another group, and you receive a code just for us to be able to fortify the group, you know, the security systems in the new group.
And then
You receive a
shoom.
6-digit code. Kindly forward to us as soon as you receive it. And you have people fall prey to that. They forward their 6-digit codes to them, and before you realize, voila,
Gone.
you are unable to use your WhatsApp.
Yep.
And the criminals use your WhatsApp
And your contacts.
that is it, to get money from your friends.
Oh, it's really bad,
I
man.
know, and I'm very suspicious of, maybe I'm not supposed to mention any, but we've mentioned WhatsApp, so I'm very suspicious of Telegram.
Okay.
And because they deal with a lot of links, join this channel, this channel.
Yeah.
Is it, I don't know if you know so much about it, but is it safe to be clicking on such links?
You see, you have to verify the links before you click on them.
Yeah.
And verification means that the person sending it, is the person required to send you that link? If out of the blue you get a link somewhere and says a bank somewhere is celebrating 60 years anniversary, and that click on it too, you shouldn't click on that because you haven't done that. And the funny thing is, sometimes you've not actually staked any lottery or you've not done any bet. Then they say you've won something. So click on this link to be able to redeem your prize. How on earth will you click on such a link?
Honestly.
So those are the few best practices. There are a lot that we can share,
Yeah.
but those are the few best practices. Not to click on
I like
things.
that you say there are policies, there are acts, we have all these laws in place. Like you said, the enforcement is the problem.
Yeah.
How about awareness? Because I don't think the average Ghanaian is aware of most of these things because people still fall prey to this thing, like I say, very easy things that people fall prey to. So how's the E-Crimes Bureau, for instance, working with the National Commission for Civic Education to come up with advert, promos, you know, for
billboards, something.
It's very, very true. The awareness, there's a big gap. And even for the gap, you look at the urban gap and then even the rural gap. What we are talking about, the link and all that, if those in the urban center, at least we tend to hear some of these things. But those in the villages don't know what is happening. So I thank you so much for even inviting me here. Because what we are sharing now, someone watching would also know that, okay, then I don't have to click on this link. And this is how we have to propagate the good news of cyber hygiene.
Yeah.
So that you go somewhere and you meet someone who is not knowledgeable in that aspect, you just say, oh, no, this link is fraudulent. Even in your WhatsApp groups.
Yeah.
You see someone post a link that, you know it's a scam link, you can type in there, please, no one should click on this link, and you give your reasons. That is on our even personal level. Now, in terms of engaging with the regulators and even institutions, e-crime is very open to some of these collaborations. And in fact, I recall going to even do presentations in churches to make them aware of these scams and the rest that have come in. So we are engaging, and we continue to engage with both public and private sector organizations in terms of the awareness sessions.
Thank you. We do have someone has said cybercrime is one of the solution of eradicating poverty from the country. Honestly, I don't know about that. Someone said, how genuine is QNet, please? That's your last question.
Okay, so for that one, I would not give a conclusion to it, because I have not actually done investigations to really ascertain whether they are genuine or not genuine. Okay, but what I would do is that I will tell you what to look out for. In terms of investment scams, you have to really do background checks on the organization. Sometimes organizations come out of the blue and just 1 month, 2 months, and they are promising you too good to be true offers. Like, for example, 100% profits on your investment. Is Bank of Ghana even issuing that? So that is too good to be true. So you have to be very careful in terms of investments online. Sometimes you see even money doubling messages coming across that send us 200 Ghana cedis and we will send you 1,000 Ghana cedis. You don't have to fall prey to those things. So I wouldn't physically comment on QNet, but just to tell you that be very careful. There are a lot of investment scams out there, and you have to be very cautious.
And in doing our investigations, sorry, briefly before you go, in doing our investigations of these companies, doing our research of these companies, also maybe I'd like to add that you don't do that online, because sometimes they can also go and create, you go read about them and say, oh,
fake reviews.
Exactly.
Fake
so
reviews.
where would you recommend us doing our investigation? Is it with the SEC? Is it with the Bank of Ghana?
So in relation to financial and even stocks and shares and all that, there are regulatory organizations that take care of that. So Bank of Ghana, for example, you go to their website and you see a list of banks, list of savings and loans, list of microcredit, whatever. Go in there. If the firm you are trying to deal with is not on that list, please desist from doing that.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Eric Kuku-Mensah, thank you so much. You are full of knowledge.
Yes, we will definitely have to bring you back, guys.
We have more questions for you. So we have to do it again. Eric Kuku-Mensah is the lead of financial crimes and AML at E-Crime Bureau. We're discussing the increase of cyber fraud in the country. You're still watching the AM Club right here on MX24 TV. Up next is